Welcome to Fuller Butz, a behind-the-scenes plastic surgery podcast. Yes, you heard that right. Join your co-hosts, Dr. Sam Fuller and Dr. Dan Butz, board-certified plastic and reconstructive surgeons, on an exclusive full-access pass into the world of plastic surgery. Combining their expertise and training, Drs. Fuller and Butz will share medical insights, detailed explanations, and lighthearted humor to keep you entertained and informed. We're certain you'll become passionate about the plastic surgery specialty, and between debunking myths, uncovering truths, or just making you laugh out loud at their perspective on this creative and artistic field, we've got something for everyone. From tummy tucks to Botox and mommy makeovers to surgery do-overs, the Fuller Butz podcast will surely satisfy your podcast fix. All right, now let's dive into this episode.
Hello and welcome to an exciting edition of the Fuller Butz podcast. This is a behind-the-scenes look at plastic surgery. I'm one of your co-hosts, board-certified plastic surgeon Dr. Sam Fuller, and with me, and who will be on the hot seat answering questions about himself, is Dr. Dan Butz, my esteemed colleague and board-certified plastic surgeon in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Dan, are you ready to be answered and grilled super important, serious questions?
I hope so. I don't know what you got in store for me, but yeah, we'll see if I'm up for the challenge.
Well, I think we dive right in. So these are not questions that you have been given. They are something just to allow our listeners to get to know as we're nearing our second season. We do have a Who Are Dr. Fuller and Dr. Butz episode, which is the very first episode that we did. But if you can't scroll that far back on Spotify or your Apple Podcasts, we thought we'd just reintroduce ourselves, and we'll start with this episode with Dr. Butz. And so, Dr. Dan Butz, can you tell us where you're originally from and where you practice your plastic surgery now?
Yeah, so that's an easy one. I grew up in and around Green Bay, Wisconsin, and obviously a lifelong Packer fan. And now I practice in Milwaukee. So, the journey here was went to medical school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Medical College, Wisconsin, met my wife there, and then University of Chicago for 6 years, then San Francisco for a year for a fellowship. But we always kind of knew we wanted to come back to Wisconsin. We have a lot of good friends and family in the area to start our practice. So been here for 7 years now, and we love it. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to raise a family and live.
And so were you choosing between specialties, or how did you always know you wanted to do plastic surgery? How did you end up where you are?
When I started med school, I never thought I'd be doing plastic surgery. Growing up, I always liked science, biology, kind of building, fixing things. So I went into med school kind of just, open-minded to, everything, but didn't really know much about plastic surgery. I was kind of more interested in oncology, because I really liked immunology and kind of the cell biology component of it. But I quickly realized in rotations, when we started, actually doing medicine, that I like to operate and use my hands and not necessarily just prescribe medication. So then I kind of steered into maybe orthopedics because I like sports. Then I was able to kind of work with some hand surgeons actually in a burn unit. Yeah, can you believe it? Who were plastic surgeons, but also did some ortho. And I just liked how they approached kind of problem solving, they were a little bit more finesse compared to, no offense to any of my ortho colleagues, friends. They probably won't be listening to this, but, a little more brute force, hammering of, iron rods and whatnot.
Just bones, man. That's all they care about.
Right.
Not weight bearing, bones.
So that really shifted my kind of opinion and appreciation of plastic surgery. And then I kind of did more rotations in plastic surgery and, ended up, matching at University of Chicago, where we became colleagues and friends. Yeah.
Do you feel like there's anything in your life, whether it's hobbies, activities, sports, personality, that made plastic surgery a fit or made you better at plastic surgery compared to other specialties?
I'm very detail oriented, which I think helps. Again, liking the finesse nature of it and problem solving. I think all these things, I like doing Sudoku, puzzles, all this stuff, kind of like trying to figure out puzzles, putting things together. like one of my hobbies is woodworking. Like you're building things from taking it from, rough wood to, kind of a beautiful piece. Whether that's, I don't know what made me like that, obviously, but I think that's what I like about plastic surgery is you're using different principles and kind of, strategies to, accomplish a goal and kind of, correct something that's been, again, a lot of when we were in training, there's a lot of it was trauma or genetic abnormalities or cancer reconstruction. But with cosmetic surgery, it's, post, pregnancy kind of related changes or, just not, feeling confident. It's kind of a similar concept of using different strategies to, accomplish someone's goals in different ways. So, again, it was not anywhere on my radar, but now that I'm doing it, I love my job and my practice and can't imagine doing anything else.
So do you fight with the anesthesia provider for the Sudoku and the crossword puzzles in the morning, or how does that work out?
Yeah, no, not anymore. My biggest frustration with airplanes now is they got rid of those magazines in the backseat. I used to love, that was like my favorite thing, is cracking those open and finishing them all before we would take off. But now they don't exist, and now I have to just play endless ones on my phone. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite surgery? Like a favorite surgery? Like, man, I wish if I can only do one surgery for the rest of my life, it would be this.
Yeah, it's tough because I only do probably like the variety of 6 things at this point. So I've really narrowed my practice down to like the 6 favorite things I like to do. So yeah, I mean, like, breast augmentations are obviously awesome surgeries. They're short, patients are super happy. But like those bigger, massive weight loss patients are also really, again, kind of bigger kind of puzzles to put everything together, really, get that really great outcome. The mommy makeovers where you're combining all of it. So I really like what I've kind of narrowed my practice down to. I'd be hard pressed to pick one thing because it's probably one of those combination things where you're doing a little bit of everything.
How would your clinic staff and OR staff describe you?
Probably, I don't know. They make fun of me because they hear those chill guy memes. Some like weird guy who's like, I'm a chill guy, but like in reality, like I'm hyper obsessed about being on time, or everything kind of going as scheduled. So yeah, I'm the chill guy who's like underlying wants it needs to be all perfect, but on the surface and chill.
And if you had one instrument, like, okay, just like if someone goes golfing and you just have to pick one club and golf an entire 18 holes with one club, what would be one surgical instrument that you think you can get start to finish an entire, tummy tuck or case?
Well, you can't do a surgery with one instrument, Sam.
I'll give you 2 then.
I mean, I use probably 3 or 4 instruments. I use Scalpel, a needle driver, and an Atson, and then obviously one or maybe a Deaver would be nice.
So no Bovie for you?
I guess Bovie would be helpful. Okay, 5 things.
So for our listeners, Bovie is an electrocautery that we use largely to allow for resection, elevation in a hemostatic way. So let's dive in about what makes you tick these days. So when you're not on the clock, being chill guy in the office, just being like, oh yeah, it's okay, even though inside you're worried about whether you're going to see a patient at their scheduled time. Where can we find you? What maybe tell us about some family things that you enjoy doing, and you already mentioned woodworking. Maybe go into some details about what we may not know about you already.
Yeah, so 3 not so small children anymore, but still children, 10, 9, and 7. So they're very busy. School, after school activities, soccer, basketball, tennis, skiing. So I've coached a few of their sporting events. I think that's really fun to be involved and engaged with that, and kind of going to be a part of that those team environments with them. But they're frequently busy till 6. So if I tend to finish on time or sometimes a little early. Finish early. I do like to do woodworking. So like we have a little garage shop where I build mostly things for my friends, family. For our home, tables, benches, cutting boards, mostly out of walnut, maple kind of stuff. It's just a fun kind of way to be using my hands in a different kind of way. using my brain in a different way. But I'm always still home before dinner. It's not like an activity that's keeping me away from the family. Um, and it's fun for gifts and things like that as well. Um, so yeah, besides, those things, and it's, on the weekends, it's for frequently skiing with the kids or going on little hikes. I tend to be, when we plan vacations, my wife tends to plan one where it's, maybe a little bit more relaxing. And I tend to plan one where we're going to a state park and kind of adventuring. So we kind of take turns kind of trying to figure out how to utilize our vacation time, which is kind of fun to kind of see, give the kids a different experiences. And she just tends to roll with it, but she keeps eliminating, RVs got eliminated, camping got eliminated. So I have to find ways to get close to the state parks, but not quite into the tents.
Is it true that you and Meg have a rank list of your kids that changes weekly based on?
Yeah, it is. We have a BC, best child, and FC, favorite child. We don't really classify the least favorite one, but yeah, it frequently rotates.
And so you grew up in Green Bay as a Packers fan. You played college soccer. Do you have a favorite sport, either to watch or play? Like what are you most, or do you follow the Milwaukee Bucks above everything with Giannis? Where are your sports allegiances and passions?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like the craziest sports fan. So I watch all the Packer games. I can manage 16 or 18 games, whatever it is. But I don't get too overly invested in it. Basketball, it's too many games to watch all of them, but I enjoy going to, games periodically, taking the kids to, at least one game a year. It's a fun kind of event and, really easy to get to in Milwaukee. Obviously Giannis has elevated the Bucks significantly over the last, 8 years, whatever it's been. Playing sports, most of it's playing it with the kids, playing soccer, basketball or whatnot, little stuff. I've kind of given up rec leagues for adults just because I know so many people who have
Don't do
ACLs, Achilles, tib fibs. It's just not worth the weekend warrior status. But I do miss kind of some of the competitiveness of playing soccer still.
Well, and then, pickleball, man, you look like a pickleball guy. Chill pickleball.
We have done that a little bit. Haven't gone too deep yet. But summer it's all about boating, so wake surfing or skiing or whatnot. Mostly I'm driving the kids, but just getting outside and doing whatever essentially is game for.
Do you have a favorite food? You had to pick any meal, what would you eat?
I mean, I love food. Probably pizza. Pizza's so good. We have a pizza oven. My wife makes really good sourdough pizza crust. She does most of the toppings. I just cook it for 30 seconds in the oven. But I like kind of trying different foods. during COVID, when we weren't going out as much, we'd often every Saturday I'd make something crazy in the pizza oven just to try different things. But yeah, I like all that. I really enjoy tasting menus. Get from these crazy Michelin star places. We did a few of those in Chicago years ago. So yeah, I like to try different things, and Schwa, that place. I think it's fun to try different foods and experience different cultures and whatnot. But
do you have a top bucket list as far as destination for travel? Are you really yearning to go any place in particular?
We've been talking about South Africa. I have a friend down there who's been doing ID medicine through Yale. That'd be fun to visit him, do some safari stuff. It's just a big trip to plan. The kids are starting to get to a better age for it. I don't have a lot of bucket list places, but I'd like to go more places. It's just a matter of busy surgical practice. Hard to get too far away.
All right, we'll jump back into the work realm. What's your personal motto for patient care? How do you want your patients to view you, or what are maybe 2 or 3 things that you feel you're very passionate about as far as delivering the superior results that you're showing on social media and really making a difference in people's lives in Milwaukee? I just basically did a run-on sentence to allow you to give you.
Yeah. I think when it comes to patient care, I think the big thing is really listening to the patients and being open and honest and transparent and having giving realistic expectations. If you're promising the moon and you can't land there, like they're not going to be happy. So I think pre-op education I probably go maybe overboard with, but really trying to make sure we're delivering on what we're selling. And just being available and consistent. So, if patients need us, we're going to figure out a way to, answer their questions when they need it, or whatever. So text message, we're available. And so I think that's a big thing, and just that's probably the most of it. Realistic expectations and results.
Any crazy predictions for future of cosmetic surgery in 5 to 10 years, or do you anticipate making significant changes in your practice, or any wild thoughts, or is that just too hard of a question to think of on the spot?
Yeah, I mean, the last few years have been so crazy, building a surgery center and kind of getting that just rolling, and adding a partner, getting him up and running. So next 5-10 years, hopefully just all keeps on keeping on. The biggest thing I think that has shifted in my practice, and I'm kind of I'm curious and kind of tepid about how it's going to evolve, is this whole subfascial kind of shift. I think it can be great for certain patients. I'm concerned that it might be being overutilized without using extra support. I've already seen some revisions where patients have way too big of implants above the muscles, and it's a big thing to fix. So in 5-10 years, if everyone's all of a sudden going subfascial, are we going to see more of that? So I try to really educate, give patients the options of why, what are the pros and cons of doing this, not just, oh yeah, everyone's doing it, so you should do it, because that's not the right answer. It should really be, picking the surgery for their goals, for their anatomy, to give them not only a good, immediate result, but also, 5-10 year result. And that's what we don't know right now with that. So that's, I think, a big thing.
That's great. And how lucky were you having me a year ahead of you in residency?
It was fantastic, because you're always so grumpy and tired, and then I was just chill guy, roll in. Just
hey.
No, it was residency was so much fun. We had a great overall group, and I think that made it. I mean, if you had a bad kind of cohort of co-residents, it would just be a miserable experience. You're working 80 plus hours a week. Pretty, sometimes challenging cases, situations. You need that support system, and to be how is it, 2016, 9 years out, and we still talk almost every day. That's a great. It's hard to find good long-term friends when you get older, so it's pretty, I think, special. We're still podcasting and hanging out as much as we can, despite living however far apart we are.
Well said. Any things that I haven't asked that you were hoping I would, or final thoughts?
No, it was way more personal than I was hoping it would be.
That was great. I think everyone understands you a lot more, and I think we got some.
I hope they understand that they should show up 5 minutes early to their appointments, because I'll be ready for them. My clinic nurse always jokes that she really tries not to let the patients sit down in the lobby. She's like, I got to grab them before they sit down, because otherwise I'm like, the patient's here. Or I passively aggressive say, is the patient here yet? Because I get a text message when they show up.
Yeah, my medical assistant and staff, I think, would say something very, very similar. It makes me feel like maybe we somehow were trained or were exposed to something that makes us very particular about seeing people on time and trying to maintain.
Yeah, what is that? It really started for me when I went to an OB appointment with my wife, and it was an hour and a half late. I'm like, how is this a thing? You have an appointment, it should be on time. Maybe OB is different because there's
super important. I think that affects everything. I bet your results, your satisfaction are way higher. You're not sitting, and time is valuable. I mean, it's so important, and so
and not just us, for the patients too. So I try to respect their time. So that they hopefully respect ours.
For sure. Well, you're off the hot seat. You did great. This was, we
Awesome.
wanted to give
Can't wait to grill you next.
Uh-oh. Coming soon. I'll be ready. I'll prepare, kind of review my CV and
your history.
But great
more
talk.
Abercrombie fights to talk about.
But we'll let our listeners take a deeper dive into who Dr. Butz is. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Be sure to give us 5-star likes on your apps, and take care, everyone. Have a great day. Dan, we'll talk later.
See ya.
Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode of Fuller Butz, a behind-the-scenes plastic surgery podcast. Doctors Fuller and Butz are so appreciative of your time and attention. We invite you to subscribe, share, and continue to enjoy our plastic surgery perspective. Feel free to reach out on Instagram at either @FullerSurgeryMD or @DanielButzMD. That's Butz with a Z, for comments, suggestions, and support. Remember, be artsy, stay scientific, and make life fun. We hope you'll join us again on the next episode of Fuller Butz.